How you going, folks? Now, we've reached the 10th. Can you believe it? 10. I can't believe it. We're at the 10th episode. Now, I don't know how to angle this. So trust me on this. Yeah, may look a little goofy-eyed. But, trust. Well, where can trust be effectively placed? I know. Teams. Yes. Now, you're probably wondering what happened to Spruce. Well, he had to go back home, and he continued on with his pit fighting career. And then he married a Greek girl, a ring girl, yeah. And that's where he went. So it's just me and I don't know where narrator is, but yeah. So teams, and what's efficient with teams? Well, there's bands. Bands are efficient teams, and yeah, you got a whole heap of trust in bands. What's one band that comes to mind? Genesis. Now, their first single was Peter Gabriel, and then he left after a couple of albums, had a successful solo career. He came to Australia a couple of years ago, or maybe a few years ago. Then Phil Collins came in about the second album, drummer, and then he took over vocal duties. And both he and Peter Gabriel have a similar voice. Like, if you didn't know much about them, you couldn't really tell them apart, and you'll get confused, who sang what. Of course, Peter Gabriel's known for Sledgehammer and Shot the Monkey, and then Phil Collins, In the Air Tonight. He did the whole soundtrack to Tarzan in 1999, which is an awesome soundtrack and a really cool animation. And yeah, so they're still active. Another strong. And before I get to that point, it raises the questions: who's better in the band? Like, the new person or the old? Like, you got that with Van Halen, David Lee Roth, and then Sammy Hagar. So who's better? Like, with David Lee Roth, you got so many great classics like Running with the Devil, Hot for Teacher. What else? Jump. I think I got that right. And then, Sammy Hagar, like, I think it was Why Can't This Be Love he joined. Quote me. If I got anything wrong here, quote me. Then one of my favorites from Twister, Humans Being, which was one of their biggest hits. And then Sammy Hagar got booted or he quit, and then David Lee Roth came out, and then they released Tattoo, which isn't very good. Still got some awesome guitar work and drum work and stuff, but it's not that good an album. Other new singers that came in. Dio and Black Sabbath, because Ozzy had the alcohol struggle, and then he had a more successful career solo than Black Sabbath did with Ronnie James Dio, but they still brought out some awesome songs and had a couple of albums, and then there was the Reunion and the Reunion album, which did well, and then Ozfest came about in 95, and then Black Sabbath was Ozzy headlined that, and Sabbath calling it a day pretty soon, and yeah, Dio went with rest of Sabbath, renamed or retooled as Heaven and Hell, released one album, and then 2010, Ronnie passed away, so rest in peace, Dio. Thank you for your hits. Who else? What other bands is there a new member that came? Well, the Misfits. They have just reunited with Danzig after 33 years. Yeah, they had a little stint, and then they broke up, and then they came back with Michael Graves, had 2 albums, and then Graves disappeared or got booted or quit, and then it's been Jerry Only, Des Candara, who was from Black Flag, and then, Robbo came in for a bit, and then, I forget who came in on drums after him, but yeah, the Fits, they're back. So hopefully they bring the tour all around the world. Other reunions, well, you got Guns N' Roses who came back, and after the original, they just got so bad. So bad. I hate Chinese Democracy. How I feel, how I take it, it's one of the worst albums made. It's just ridiculous and stupid. The whole band, except for Axl, was completely new. So pretty much myself and a few associates dubbed it Axl and Friends. And then, he had Buckethead play with him. Buckethead's cool. He's awesome. He's crazy, but he's a great guitarist. Then Brian Brain Manier, I think his last name is, or Mario, Brian Mania, who played with Primus, and then he played in Guns N' Roses for Chinese Democracy. So that was cool. It does have its highlights, but personally, I hate the album. So yeah, Guns has semi-reunited, but there's been some small talks that Steve Adler and Izzy are coming back. So if that's true, you got the full original Guns N' Roses back in action. They're coming down in February. So other singers, well, of course, AC/DC. You had Dave Evans for about a year. Then Bon Scott came in. Then they rose up, and then Bon Scott passed away, and then Brian Johnson came in. They rose up, and then they sort of had a bit of a low bearing, and then they rose up again, and it sort of went like that. And then, well, of course, Brian Johnson had to leave because of hearing issues, and then Axl Rose came in, and oh my god, and all this talking came that Axl was going to be the new frontman, and no, it was just to fulfill their contracts. But who is better? With some of the bands I mentioned, I got into the Misfits during the Graves era, and they have awesome songs like Scream, Dig Up Her Bones, American Psycho, 3, and there's Helena as well. But with Danzig, you got Stag Age, Skulls. We are 138. May say that, I'm not sure. And yeah. And then, well, with Jerry Only being the frontman, you had The Devil's Rain, and I can't remember or recall any song from that album. So it's just, the Graves era and the Danzig era, so when that happens, oh my god. So they finally settled their disputes. Other bands. Well, Slipknot have Jay and V-Man in. Jay did pretty good with drumming, and V-Man is quite a good bassist. So there was no replacement members for a little bit. After Paul Gray died, they brought in Johnny Steele, who did play on stage. He played behind the curtain, and then he left in, I think, before the album commenced. And then, well, Joey was kicked out late 2013, and the band didn't announce any names, but people found out when they saw the Devil and I music video due to the tattoos, and then it was officially confirmed, even though people already found out who was what. And yeah, then there's another band who narrator, wherever he is, would mention, but you already know who they are. Yes, they had a few replacements, they had reunions, all did good, mixed feelings about who and what, and yada yada yada. But yeah, look, with Van Halen, I like David Lee Roth in a number of favorites. Same with Sammy Hagar. And yeah, look, original Guns N' Roses I didn't like as you know, the Chinese Democracy thing. I didn't like that. Did mention with Michael Graves, grew into that, but also appreciate Danzig stuff. AC/DC, I like both eras, both Bon and both Brian. And I'm coming short of time, with Genesis, I like them both. They both Phil Collins and Peter Gabriel. They sound a little bit similar. One's voice is a little bit deeper. They're both really good at what they do. So, yeah, whenever I hear Genesis or either Peter or Phil, it's just great to hear. So, who do you like? Who do you like better? And Yeah, well, as time goes, I guess I'll scare you later.